Through with the real flow, signing out ES News, Ande Emilio, NY. Ande Emilio for ES News here with Eddie Hearn. Big news. Wilder, Joshua, obviously that's the it topic on all the Instagrams and the social medias. Did you see his most recent video he put out on Instagram?
It's really good. He's doing a good job. I feel for Deontay because he doesn't really have a promoter, so he's having to do everything himself. He must be very tired. Like, he's phoning up. I was on a chat show the other night. He phoned up himself. Like, he's a very good self-promoter. He's doing a great job, particularly using Anthony's name to raise his own profile. He's doing everything right. You know, and I really feel like he's starting to gain a little bit of momentum in the US now, which is great news for the fight, because I feel like both guys need to raise their profile in the US.
Because the knockout went viral. I mean, everyone kind of posted it. Shaquille O'Neal was posting it.
It was like so weird, wasn't it? It was like one guy just turned up, didn't even want to be there, didn't want to fight. And Wilder was like all over the place, swinging like these. I mean, I've seen like the cartoon stuff. But listen, we know what we saw in the fight is what we know about Deontay Wilder. He's very reckless, he's very unorthodox, but he's a big puncher. You know, and it was a good performance because although Stavern didn't want to be there and he wasn't interested, and he's had what, one fight in 3 years, he was still the mandatory. So Deontay had to deal with him, but at least he dealt with him spectacularly rather than like a labouring win. And I say to these guys, I say to Gerald Miller as well, you've got to look good. You know, like he's in a really tough fight, Gerald Miller, against Mariusz Wach.
Yeah.
And if he stinks the place out in a boring win, he can forget fighting Anthony Joshua. If he knocks Mariusz Wach out like a 6'9" tree to the floor, then he can start making some noise. So the fact that Wilder looked good was great for him, great for his profile, and good for the potential fight.
Now I've got to ask for your rebuttal, because at the post-fight press conference, there was a moment where Shelly Finkel went to the dais and they were debating, and Lou Dibella was there too, about Vegas versus the UK. It looks really good to have 80,000 people in, you know, Wembley or whatever, but that there's more money in Vegas.
Well, there is, only because we don't outprice the fans in the UK. So the ticket prices, particularly like in the top tiers and stuff like that, it's like $60. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you were doing that fight in Vegas, the cheapest ticket would be about $250. So yes, you can achieve, like, we could achieve a lot more out of the gate at Wembley than you could in Vegas. Of course you could. It's 90,000 people, but it's the way you price it. So, but it doesn't matter where the fight is. It's not. Deontay would like the fight in the US. We'd like the fight in the UK. I feel like both fighters would travel. No problem. So, but it's not really about the money generated in that fight, because what they're saying is, oh, it looks good, but really, well, Joshua's making 8 times the money per fight that Deontay Wilder was making. In fact, Joshua's last opponent made more than Deontay Wilder did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not really how it looks, it's the reality of where the guys are in terms of their commercial value. And that's going to be the tough thing to do to making the deal, because you can't compare the two in that respect, but you have to give Deontay Wilder respect and credit. You can't just belittle him and say, there's 10%, take it or leave it. We're going to have to manage the reality with the fantasy, and we're going to have to find somewhere in the middle. We're going to have to overpay Deontay Wilder. That's the truth of it, because we have to overpay everybody to get him in the ring with Anthony Joshua.
Now I've got to ask, does that mean that Anthony Joshua is the clear A-side?
Oh, come on.
Is that something that there will be a rematch clause in the contract for?
Not necessarily. I mean, the two champions. I mean, I've no problem. Like, the thing is, what people have got to understand is, Deontay Wilder can come out and say, like, Joshua was in my office yesterday and he said, I saw Wilder stuff. Where has this come from? Like, he says we're running. He says, have they made us an offer? I said, no. He said, have they reached out for a chat? I said, no, I've reached out to them. I said, no, Josh, you've got to understand, this is what he has to do. He's doing the right thing. All right. But like, Josh is thinking, until we sit down and talk, we don't know if it's real. We don't know if they're going to price themselves out. We don't know if they want the fight next, really, other than what Wilder's saying. I mean, I think they're going to fight Brazil or Ortiz next.
Yeah.
But we're up for the fight next. I think it's unlikely, I have to be honest to the fans.
Okay.
But I think it's an absolute dead cert for 2018. Unquestionable. But again, until I sit down with Shelly and Al, which is tomorrow, I don't know. They may come to me and say, we want this. And I'll say, it's dead. It's never going to happen. But really, where what are their options to make another $1.5 million or $2 million? Like that's the only options they have. But again, we've got to respect them. We can't be arrogant and just say, take it or leave it. We've got to overpay them, and we've got to try and give the fans the fight that people want to see.
Well, I've got to ask, do you think it's a little bit of an unfair critique or some criticism towards Anthony Joshua, because people have saying that he's been playing the political card, that he has to, you know, oblige all his mandatories and go through the ropes, and he's making Deontay Wilder jump through hoops?
But the fight's never been mentioned before Saturday night.
Okay.
So it's like Deontay's like, he's been running for years. It's like, whoa, what? Like, we had a mandatory, you had a mandatory, now you don't have mandatories, so the conversations can start.
Okay.
So if they come to us and said, we'll give you $100 million for the fight, and we turn it down, you can say we're running, that's fine. But don't say we're running when there's been no offers, no conversation, nothing at all. So we accept that discussions need to begin for the fight. We want the fight. Now we'll see if it's real. We'll see if there's an opportunity to make it.
Not only is this, you know, a heavyweight matchup of grand proportions, the biggest fight in boxing, but also this has that classic feel of, you know, the Bob Arum versus Don King. You and Lou Dibella have been trading words. He's been very animated in his last couple of interviews. Have you seen Lou's whole thing about that he's known you from 8 years old?
Yeah, I spoke to him the other day and he's like, don't say anything bad about me in America this week. Lou, I've just been listening to you for 2 weeks. Lou's alright. Lou's not really the promoter of Deontay Wilder. Lou is a promoter of the shows that Deontay boxes on. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So he's not involved in the decision-making process. Like, he won't be at the meeting tomorrow to discuss the fight. But he has his role to play. He's a good promoter. He's a good boxing man. But he really isn't involved in this mix, you know, in terms of making the fight happen. Doesn't mean he won't be involved in the show. So yeah, but I reached out to Lou once because he phoned me up once about something I said on Twitter, said he was a yes man or something like that.
Yeah.
You motherfucker, you can't say that. You are. I said, Lou, we're just building a fight, mate. And now I think he's understanding that it is a game and it is an act, and people like to see beef and people going off at each other.
Yeah.
It just adds different elements.
Is that something boxing's been missing, because the promoters were as much as a part as the fight in the golden age?
I'm not saying Don King was an angel.
Yeah.
But he was a great promoter. You know, when there was a fight in town, Don King made sure you knew about it. You know.
Yeah.
So there needs to be beef. Me and Lou's a good subplot. You know, it might be me against Shelley in time. Who knows? It might be me against Deontay.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's only going to grow the size of the fight and make people talk about the fight even more.
I've got to ask, most recent news that Big Baby signed with you?
Well, so he says.
Yeah.
Listen, we've got a relationship with Dimitri Salita and Greg Cohen, and we're going to be working together for the next couple of fights.
All right.
And I see him as a real contender in the heavyweight division. Now, when you look at people and potential opponents, you look at guys who are good, sellable, with charisma and personality, and that's all Big Baby Miller.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see what he does this Saturday, particularly against Marius Wack, who is a very good, very live, very dangerous opponent. He's got to look good. If Big Baby Miller can look good and deal with Wack this weekend, he could be the guy that gets Joshua next. You know, because if we don't fight Wilder, we've got Parker and we've got other contenders as well. And he would be a great fight for us to come and, like I said, start breaking down that US market.
With the political barriers, with a contract with HBO, does that stop any chance of a fight between him and Wilder? Or are the doors just open for fights like him and White and things like that?
We can look at that fight. I mean, you know, I think him against Wilder is a big fight. He's going to be on HBO the next couple of fights for sure. And then we'll see where it goes. You know, Joshua's on Showtime at the moment. We've got another fight with them, and then we'll see what happens. We're happy with Showtime at the moment. Things can change in boxing with Jarrell, and you know, I think that Dylan White's in the mix as well. Dominic Brazil's back in the mix, although Joshua's already beaten him. You know, so really, the more the merrier. You know, the more competitors, the more contenders. But the more contenders like Big Baby Miller, with the personality, with that, you know, like Joshua against Big Baby Miller in Brooklyn, fucking big fight. Yeah, big fight. Big fight. And that's something we could look at.
Gotta ask Kell Brook. He's been recently, you know, showing him working out on Instagram and some clips like that. What's the future for Kell Brook? Is he too small for 154? Is it still at 147? Or
move up to 154,
so 154 is the way he'll be at
and
now.
He's looking at boxing maybe end of Feb, something like that. I mean, the Errol Spence fight hurt him emotionally because the Golovkin fight was like, no, like he took a risk, he kept his belt, made a lot of money, but you know, now he made the decision to stay at 147 because he didn't want to duck Spence because everyone was going to criticise him. I told him he should have moved up, but I admire him for what he did. But it hurt him losing his belt, and it's really taking him back a little bit, and I think it's taking him a bit more time to get back in the gym. So he's back in the gym now. End of Feb is the goal. And
which sanctioning body, which champion?
I don't know. I think we need a good solid win first.
Okay.
It's a tough division. You know, it's a division where there's not a lot of money, but there's a lot of good fighters.
Yeah.
So that's never good news, especially for a promoter.
Yeah.
So, but Kell's a good name. He's an excellent fighter. We want to get one good win and then get back in the mix.
Well, appreciate your time, Eddie. Thank you for answering all my questions.